suck. What an intro! Just intro gone to hell. So you know what? We might as well just get into this week's episode and just unmute everyone and bring them right in. Hi guys, how are you?
That was a fantastic intro.
Everything I heard was just perfect.
It was just so powerful. The message was great. I hope everybody heard that one.
You want to know how this played out? This is how it played out. I was talking and it was such a great intro and all that. And then I look up and I see a message in the private chat and I go, what could that be? And then I look over at all our microphones and they're muted. And I don't know if that's the message in the private chat.
That's what the message is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, how are you guys doing? Great to see you again this week.
Well, I'm going to ask all of you a quick question. Would you like a piece of cake?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Everybody would like a piece of cake. So it's my mother's birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Oh, no, not to me.
No, not to you. You already had your birthday. It's her turn now. But yeah, so it's been an okay day. Obviously, I'm sure I sound as lovely as I should. A little sick, but I'm doing great. So otherwise,
as
and there's gonna be cake.
Yeah, and then when you're as powerful of a god as you are, some days you've just had enough.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Sheep Sidian, how are you, sir? Our heroic hero.
The heroic hero is here. Yo. Anyway, I'm good. Door has been opened. I'm being handed a piece of cake. Give me a second. Thank you.
And there are
Appreciate
dogs
it.
barking as always.
Shouts out to you.
Excellent.
All right. But yeah, no, I'm doing all right. I mean, I'm just recovering from being sick. If for those of you that are interested in that aspect of it all, yeah, the hero got the Eldritch being sick. But I'm recovering. I know, right? I'm recovering from it, and I've been doing violent coughing and whatnot, and my throat hurts, but I'll be all right.
Is it the COVIDs, or are you guys free and clear of that?
I think it's a cold.
I will tell everybody that it was the Modelo virus.
I was convinced it was it was just allergies for the first 24 hours, but now I have to break down and accept the fact I am in fact sick.
Yeah,
I think that's just like the standard. It's like, you get the sniffles and people are like, you sick? It's like, nah, it's just allergies. Dude, it's November. What do you mean just allergies? And it's like, I mean, it's just allergies. And then like a few, maybe 2-3 hours later or something like that, you lose all your energy, you start sweating, you cough a little bit, and then you're just like, I think I'm good. Next day, you just don't want to get out of bed, and you just like, I think I'm sick. And everybody's like, oh, word? We had the vitamin C and like the Sunny Delight and whatnot already set up yesterday.
Yeah. Anytime I feel like just like the slightest tickle, I go to the medicine cabinet and I take about 6,000 to 8,000 milligrams of vitamin C, not at once, but like throughout the day. I'll just like 2 and 2, and get as much preload all that the vitamin C to keep me from getting sick rather. But ANCAP, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. RC Scott, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure to have you guys here. It's God, what a week. What a week. Before we get into this stuff, what are you guys up to, stream wise, content wise? Amarada, what are you doing?
Oh, you know me. I do the same things. I'm still playing Elden Ring. I'm quite honestly thinking I'll probably be playing Elden Ring for the rest of the year at the rate I'm going. And then I will be Fridays and Saturdays. I typically do some kind of group game with one of my friends and whoever's in the Discord. Well, Gilded now. We're using Gilded because Discord pissed me off.
Oh, you switched over.
Yeah, we did. I love Gilded. It's so much better. But yeah, we're doing. We'll do like 7 Days to Die, but we'll probably do something else. Eventually.
Nice. And so, Elden Ring, I was watching you play the other day. What is your biggest what do you think is like your biggest concern of the game, like for your playthrough, and what do you think is the most exciting part of your playthrough so far?
For me, so I love open world games, but if they make them too open world, I end up everywhere. I mean, I'm going through everywhere. I'm exploring everything, and I'm doing absolutely nothing involved with the storyline. It'll take me forever to beat the game.
Right.
And that's my concern because there's no particular structure to the story.
Yes.
So that's why I said I'm pretty sure we're probably going to be at it for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that is certainly the downside to those kind of games, and it concerned me at first. I don't know. Once you play through one of them, you start to learn like how to test the waters. Like, okay, am I too slow? Am I too weak for this area? And then you might back off and go somewhere else. But yeah, like with no waypoints and stuff, it can be it could be difficult. I can see that.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at, if I'm getting my ass kicked in one area, leaving and going somewhere else for a little while and coming back again.
Yeah. Well, cool.
But,
And what's your favorite part so far of the game?
My favorite part so far is just, I mean, it's a little bit of both for me. I love the open world thing, and so that makes me really excited because I genuinely love being able to go through at my own pace and go everywhere, and maybe slightly weirdly circumvent the storyline.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
Cool. Sheep, what have you been doing, man?
And that's it. No. I actually just recently uploaded a video. It's my own, like, my one person specific perspective on Will and Jada getting Will slapping Chris.
Right.
So that video is out. Aside from like the podcast that I'm doing every Monday and Friday, I took a clip out from last week's episode and uploaded that as a video. So people who want to see like, some cool little edits and see some jokes or hear jokes and stuff like that, hit the rewind button a few times because it makes you laugh, gut bustingly laugh, because I'm that fucking hilarious. That freaking hilarious. Let me monitor myself right now. This is not my channel. And I'm gonna monitor myself. I'm gonna use the like 2 sailor words. Just not all 7, just 2.
Okay.
It's like the Infinity Gauntlet. I only need like 1 stone right now. But aside from uploading that one video, I uploaded it on Sunday. So since then, I've been working on another video that I'm hoping to have out either Saturday or Sunday again. And aside from that, just working on my comic, doing some art stuff, try to dabble with some music, doing some intro music for my videos eventually whenever I get to learning how to lock down some sounds that I like a lot, and then put that out there and then just wow the planet, and you're like, oh wow, he's actually really talented. I'm like, I've been telling y'all this for like a bunch of years. Like nobody listened. Well, not a few people listened, but nobody was out there saying, hey, look, he should get the boosts and stuff like that. I'm about to go on a tirade, so let me stop, as a matter of fact. Okay.
We love your passion. Quick hand movement. You got it.
Yep.
The
quick voice movement.
Yeah. the oh god, brain fart. Power down. Anyways, this week we are getting into some major culture, but before we get into that, of course, make sure you find everyone's link down below in the subscription. Whoa, this is bad, guys. This is a bad day today.
Description.
My brain is just not firing properly.
I'm sick, so yeah.
Click the subscribe button. It'll send you to every single. It'll just open up like 20 tabs with all of our sites.
In the description below, if you're on YouTube, there is a bunch of links there. If you want to support us, please go to those links and find your favorite person and click the subscribe button and like them.
Or just follow all of us.
Yes, or just follow all of us. Okay, we're going to turn this whole thing around right now, and we're just going to get right into it. this week was interesting. It kind of started off for me with a lovely celebrity video. I don't even know, like, I quite honestly don't understand the point of this, but Kristen Bell, a famous actress, I believe, from, was that Forgetting Sarah Marshall and a bunch of other stupid. It's actually a funny movie. I will give credit where it is due. It is a funny movie. But she decided to, bless us all with her take on her privilege and how she handles it with her children.
I'm gonna open up another tab and go to IMDb because I know her. I covered this as well on my show, but I know her single thing that she's been in.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and do what you gotta do.
IMDb. She decided to open up to us and again to discuss her how she approaches privilege with her children, and it was cringy to watch. I mean, because she's a massively successful movie star. She's got lots of money, and it's one of those things that I feel like these celebrities just talk because they're trying to score points with their audience, and like, I don't want to be. They don't want to be eaten by their own kind. It would seem, and I don't know. It was really weird. There's a part here where I kind of want to play a little smidgen of it because it was just so funny to hear her say like, I try to tell my kids that I don't, we have a lot of money, but I don't want to give them a bunch of things. I'm like, shut up. It's not like you're giving away all your money to people. Like, if you were so noble, if you believe that you were so privileged, you would take all this money that you have and start dispersing it equally among those who are unfortunate, right? Like, why aren't you creating this kiosk on the corner in the hood and handing out money to all these people?
That video was so weird. Like,
I
everything she
disagree a little, honestly.
Well, what she says or with what he said?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
But all the way up until she starts talking about race, I kind of understand what she's going for.
Same.
Yeah. Have a lot of money and stuff, don't really put or instill in their children the fact that they actually have to work for shit and all that. So on one hand, I find the idea she acknowledges that to be somewhat commendable.
Yes.
I find it a little weird, but that she's so what's the word? Talks about it so much, perhaps, I guess is the way to put it.
Right.
But, virtue signals.
Yeah, that.
Well, that's how it comes across. I mean, at least from someone like me, I just immediately thought like, what provoked this? And like, it's just one of those things. Like, I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago when it came to Disney putting out the message about standing with like, young trans kids. It's like, you mean all you're doing is saying like, we just want to respect people. And it's like, is it necessary to announce that to everyone?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, that's like this one. That's one of the reasons why, like, if ever there's a situation like this where someone goes and tells people, hey, I have this kind of notoriety as far as like finances go or something, like, because I'm not going to sit here and say privilege. She obviously worked to get to where she is. Right. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, she's privileged. She worked to get to where she is. So like, she had an opportunity, she took it, and now she is where she is. But like, it's less pandering, not pandering, but virtue signaling. Excuse me. Like, like there's no reason to virtue signal if you want to do something good. Just do something good. Like, this is something that from myself, for example, like, not even to sit here and virtue signal or anything like that. There's a vet. I was leaving out of Target one day, and there was a vet. I just did like a $20 withdrawal because I think I went to go get like, I don't know, a Twix and something to drink just to get a withdrawal. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take this $20 and use this for coffee for the rest of the week. And I'm driving out of the parking lot, and there's this vet there with a sign. I stopped the car, pulled the wallet out, gave him the 20, and just kept going. I was like, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, kind of thing. It's like, I don't have to go out of my. I'm not going out of my way to say, "Hey guys, I help people." Like I just do it. And the same thing is same thing. Like for example, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves doesn't go out and tell people, "Hey, I'm gonna go help these people. I'm gonna go give people this money, this, that, and the other." He just does it.
Yeah.
Other people might talk about it, but he says, "Well, I mean, I just do, and it is what it is." You don't have to go out of your way to tell people, "Hey, I am a good person." Just be a good person.
Right. It's like those like TikToks that you'll see where it's like someone like doing a whole video about giving someone money. And it's like, can't you just do that? Like what? Like you're trying to like it's a better thing to do. It's just like if you really want to help someone, just help someone. Like you're trying to get like clicks and likes off of something that maybe you should just do. Like or it's just weird. And even like people do it even on the other side of things where they'll see like a bad situation happening and they'll rather than like maybe step in and help, they'll film it and then post it like they're being noble or anything. It's like if you really cared about what's going on, put the camera down and
just
help someone because what you're doing is you're looking for something in return for that good deed or for that not stepping in or whatever. So yeah, and I agree. Like I think the better message, kind of like what you're saying, is rather than talk about like, oh, we're privileged, it's like, isn't the better message to say to your kids, I worked my ass off for years. Your dad worked his ass off for years, putting in time, auditioning, whatever. And we finally made it. And we saved our money and we were able to give you guys a great life. And we try and give back when we can. Like why is it this like, woe is me? Like we have to somehow play this weird victim role. And because of that, we have to, you know what I mean? Like we have to acknowledge it. It's just weird.
It's just the way that it's phrased. Like, yeah, and I do agree with Amarada and saying that like the literal first half of this video, it's like I understand the message. It's the way that it's phrased though, it just seems kind of weird. It's just like, like I kind of have to comment on, oh, well, why don't we, instead of looking at it like this, it's this. And it's like, well, I mean, that's a weird way of phrasing it kind of thing. But then like, halfway through the video is when it opens up to like what you would assume, because it's the latter half, is the ulterior motive of the video. It's just like, see, I knew that there was some kind of intent behind it that was less of just being a decent person and more of trying to gain some kind of virtue points.
Right.
Not even necessarily woke points, just virtue points.
Yeah. And like I'm just disturbed by this, this culture of like self-flagellation that, I guess specifically white people are doing, because some sect of the population is saying that you have to pay for the sins of your fathers and your forefathers and all that. And this just seems like another attempt at that. Like, well, I think the intent was good and I think she'll probably raise good kids. It's like, you just can't help but eye roll at some of the stuff she had to say. And I'm just like, well, we get it, but maybe the better message is to, be a good person.
Right.
What did we had a comment here? I'd still have people showing their good deeds rather than tearing someone else down. Positive media is still positive, even if the intentions are selfishly selfless. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, it's still like, I can't really blame those like TikToks where people go and they essentially set someone up to be greedy, but if they don't, then they'll hand them like another $500 or $1,000, and like those are good because you are essentially they're trying to show the good in like people who are homeless a lot of times, where they might like, hey, do you have like $10 you could spare? Like, can I have a bite of your food? And the homeless guy will give him a bite, and then the guy hands him like $500 or goes and takes him to get him a sandwich or a haircut or whatever. And like those, at the end of the day, those are really good, and they do show the good in humanity. I will be slightly critical. It's like, well, he is filming it. Like, why can't he just do it? But I think in this age where we have so much social media and we have the ability to reach people across oceans and continents, like it's good to share that stuff and show the good in the world, because otherwise we might not be able to see it.
Right.
Excuse me. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I've also had enough of a lot of these celebrities just being like, I'm a normal person. I'm like, we gotcha. We
And the
gotcha,
funny
lady.
thing about that is there are plenty of celebrities out there that are just normal people. And like the thing that makes them normal people is that they don't go out of their way to prove that they're normal. Like they don't have to Mark Zuckerberg their way through a conversation. Like
Right.
I was talking with Amarad about this. Like Michael Cera, he had a kid recently. Most people are just like, oh, I didn't even know he was in a relationship. Yeah, no, he's
I didn't
married.
even know he was an adult.
Right.
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 Like he's married, he has a kid, and it's just like that's how I prefer people, like especially when it comes to celebrities. If you're a celebrity, your job is to just entertain for the most part. If you're a music artist, you sing, you rap or whatever. If you're an actor, you act and stuff like that. I don't need to know about your personal life.
Right.
I mean, if we were cool people, sure, but like I don't need to know about your personal life. Just do you. And then, the news finds out, or news comes out later, hey, they had a kid or something like that. It's like, oh, you don't have to do anything extra.
Yeah. There's funny because for a long time I worked in the restaurant industry, and I worked at this really cool resort in Hawaii, and there was we'd get lots of actors and actresses who would come in, and one in particular, I'm looking up his name right now, Bruce McGill. He would come in a lot with his just by himself with his family, like with his wife. He was good friends with my general manager, and Bruce McGill. He plays. He's a character actor. He's in a lot of films that you've seen, and in the one I always remember though is My Cousin Vinny. He plays the sheriff in My Cousin Vinny. Like I said, he's in a lot of things that you would just recognize, but he's such a normal person. He is the kind of celebrity that I want to hang out with and talk to, and I want to see like his thoughts on things. Because I mean, him and I would just talk at the bar a lot of times, and he would go golfing with like our GM or whatever. But yeah, he would just have a good, like, normal conversation with you, and not be pretentious, and not seem like, oh, you were beneath him. Like the exact opposite of a lot of the celebrities that we see talk, on the news or like, on Twitter and stuff like that. So I just wish they were more like that. So yeah, that's kind of how my week started off, with seeing that, and I just was a little disappointed. But still still good to see that some there, I think she in particular, and her husband, what is it, Dax Shepard, she's married to, or they were married. It's good to see that they seem to be fairly grounded, but yeah, I'm done with like the pandering.
Some weird stuff though. I mean, I've heard them talk about like they don't bathe their kids and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've heard some weird stuff from them.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, and I will comment on that. They said I think it was them that said they bathe their kids like once or twice a week. So this isn't as uncommon as you would think.
It didn't sound that weird to me after reading it, just because I've been around small children. And sometimes that's all you can do.
Yeah, and parenting's a balancing act. Like, it's easy for people to comment who don't have kids on stuff like that. We're like, that's gross, they don't wash your kids. Like, well, first of all, my kids aren't always crazy dirty. And second of all, and especially when they're really young, like when they're first born, up until about a year or a little more, like you don't want to bathe them all the time, because part of the
dry them
thing,
out.
What's that?
They'll dry them out.
Well, that, and it's also like the germs, like they're supposed to get like contact with germs and stuff like that. They put everything in their mouth. And you're really not supposed to, like, they tell you, like, don't, once a week, they'll tell you that straight out. It's just them acclimating, getting the good bacteria on their skin, developing their first couple of immunities. As kids get a little older, 3, 4, 5, and they're outside playing in the mud and stuff, yeah, you want to bathe them after that. And I'm sure that's what they do. They're saying, like, my kids are inside for most of the week, or they're, whatever. Yeah. We're not bathing them every day, a couple times a week. That's totally acceptable. And remember how tired you are at the end of the day, like from work, and then couple onto that, a couple screaming kids in a bathtub. No thanks.
I mean, the kids are going to scream anyway, but why add the bathtub?
Right. It's just, I'm not going to. Most people are not going to let their kids get so dirty that they become like sick or start smelling. I mean, we all know we had that smelly kid in class, but you had that like one kid throughout high school and middle school, and it was probably the same kid all the way through. You didn't have a bunch. So most people are hip to when they need to bathe their children. If not, DCF comes knocking. But we had some developing news with Jada Pinkett Smith this week too. That was interesting to see. But honestly, not all that surprising. I don't know if you guys were surprised to read this, but
I was honestly waiting for it to drop. To be in all honesty, I figured that news like that would come out at some point.
Yeah. And because you had shared the picture in Discord, Emirata, and then I was like, I hope that's a real thing, because I did see Della post that, and I thought the same thing. Like, is this even real, or did someone Photoshop it? But no, someone actually.
It was a real article.
Yeah.
Though I will say, reading the article, there's an awful lot of sources say kind of stuff.
Right. There is the chance of like hearsay and whatnot, but honestly, it doesn't surprise me that she doesn't want to like stand behind his actions.
No.
I think it's just sort of very telling of their relationship in general. But I don't know.
On one hand, I can't understand as a woman, like if she was to go out and slap somebody who insulted me, I'd probably turn around and slap him.
Why would I see?
Exactly.
Here's the thing about that though. Like if a girl slapped you, I'd be like, okay, you got that one. But like if it was a guy, then it's less of defending honor and more of like having self-respect. Like you're a dude hitting a woman,
right?
Like
right. But I'm talking about if you slapped them for insulting me.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, if the joke is good enough, I'm laughing.
Yeah, as you should. Heck, if the joke's good enough, I'll laugh. But so I can understand kind of where she's coming from, because I can understand where I would be pissed if my significant other decided to hit somebody on my behalf.
Right.
But on the other hand, the look on her face at the time when it was occurring really said that she wanted him to do it.
Right. Oh yeah.
So at this point, it's reached that kind of emotional abuse thing where no matter what he does, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah. And like, when I was reading this article, they pulled this little piece out when, she had come out and said, was it last December that, it was last December. Yeah. A couple months ago, basically now. Now at this point I can only laugh. You'll know I've been struggling with alopecia, and just all of a sudden one day, look at this line right here. And she, points to a spot on her scalp. Like it's like stuff like this where I read this and then I see her reaction at the Oscars, and then the comment. It's just like, what? So are you offended by the joke? Do you not really care? Do you think it's kind of funny? Like you just laughing it off?
She's trying to keep herself out of crosshairs as much as possible. That's what that is.
Just it's insulting. Like I don't know. And again, like we talked about last week, it seems to me that Will just needs to see a therapist at this point. Like he's probably just dealing with so much crap, and that just sort of like, I mean, I've been there where, something happens and you're trying to read the room, and then you look over at your wife and you're like, no, that wasn't funny, was it? Oh shit. Okay, now I got to do something, and if you haven't gotten to that point, eventually you do, because sometimes relationships are stressed and you don't want to. You always want to do right by your partner. And I'm sure that's what Will's trying to do. And whatever they were trying to work out in the long run anyway, it's just like, well, shit, I better do something now.
Well, the weird thing about it's funny because like when I say that I don't like, I like my celebrities to be, just celebrities and just leave it at that. Mm-hmm. But then stuff like this happens and you get a little bit intrigued as far as like, how far does this rabbit hole go down? And you're just like you find out there's more stuff behind it. There's like, of course, there's the Red Table thing, podcast that they had that whole situation at. And it's not like it was like, it wasn't just one session. And then there's the whole like August Alsina putting out a rap song talking about like the whole talking about that situation. And then there's other things that are happening in between time. Then there's the slapping Chris Rock, and then there's the current situation that Will is in where, the media is after him, and the general public is after him, and there are a few people out there that are just like, he needs some level of redemption, and their voices get drowned out because everybody else is just like, get him out. And it's just like, it's for a lack of better terms, a shitstorm that you don't want to see, but you're intrigued as far as how it ends.
Oh yeah. I'm curious as to, because he said that he accepts whatever fate the Academy gives him, because they said he left the like Academy, and I don't know how that works. I'm not really that keyed in, but he he said, I accept whatever fate they decide. At this point I'm so pot committed with what's gone on that I need to see the payout. Like, are they going to take it from him? I doubt it. I doubt they'll take it from him. I'm sure it'll be a whole other racial issue at that point, but I just don't see. I mean, that incident aside, his performance in the movie was great. Like, it was deserving of the award. But
ultimately, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, I think moving forward, it should definitely, affect him. So, and maybe that's what will happen. Maybe he won't be eligible for awards because of that display.
No, me personally, like, if his career, like if he ended up Bruce Willising, that wouldn't bother me in the least. Like, the man has been in enough movies to last everyone their entire lives. He's been in enough productions, I guess you could say, to last everyone their entire lives. And what I ultimately want for Will is for him to get out of that situation. Like, as like I mean, he's obviously like scathed and damaged and broken to bits, but I want him to still walk out of that situation and be able to live the rest of his life with his with his head up, chest out, being the man that he wants to be, as opposed to the man that people want him to be. Yeah,
that's a good point. That really is. Like, and I agree. Like, if maybe it's time that he focuses on himself. Forget the movies, man. Take care of your head. Take care of your heart. Mend things with your family if you want or not. But maybe this is the time to step back and not worry about what everyone else needs and what do you need. Right. And and what does his family need? Like, I don't really have many comments on his kids, but seems like he needs to be at home a little bit. I mean, I do. I'm not going to necessarily comment now, but like, it seems like his family needs him. But I don't know. I think you're right, though. I think he needs to. I think it would be smart of him to sort of take a seat. I mean, his career up until this movie was on the decline. Like, he wasn't putting out anything good. I mean, most of his stuff was a bit of a miss. Like, he had a couple things peppered in here and there, but it'd been a while since he really like hit it big with a movie. And this was,
I Am Legend was like the last thing that I can remember that he was in that was any level of like good.
Yeah. Everything else. I mean, even if we thought it was good, a lot of the stuff was like critical failures. Like, the critics hated it, or the audiences generally hated it. Yeah. It wasn't like, what was that? There's a movie recently he did.
Gemini Man.
Yeah, Gemini Man. After Earth
was not good. Gemini Man was not good. And the sad part about it is Gemini Man is a good story. Like, the original movie is good. Mm-hmm. And you think Will, being like such a fantastic actor, would be able to knock it out the park, but it just doesn't land.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad. Like, but this, this biopic was something that his career needed. It's just unfortunate that he couldn't follow through with his personal stuff. Just seemed to really get to him. Emrod, did you get a chance to as the Eldritch female here?
The
I
lady.
think I started it a little bit. So yeah, I said my say basically, and you guys covered the rest. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much all on the same page in this regard.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry. I'm sad that this happened to Will when it did. Especially on a night that was like his night. You know, it was like it seemed like everyone knew that he was going to win. That's probably why he didn't get escorted out.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest. And a lot of people probably disagree with me. I kind of hope they don't take the Oscar away from him because
I agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
he won it for something great that he's supposed. I didn't see the movie and won't see the movie probably, but you know, he earned it in that regard. The fact that he was dumb
Yeah.
probably shouldn't take it away. But on the other hand, you know, I've heard other people state that it's the only way to really teach someone like him a lesson, and maybe that would wake him up. I don't know, but I don't think so. So I don't know that really adding that on top of him would be good for him in this
And
situation.
that like that latter part where people saying it like teaching him a good lesson, I don't agree with that because the man's already you know just from like the context clues of everything that's been coming out between him and Will. I mean between him and Jada, like things are not as solid as you'd hope they'd be in the household, but the him winning the Oscar and him slapping Chris Rock are two completely separate situations.
Right.
And does nothing but pretty much just divide people even more. Like you got to look at the two situations as two completely different things. That's why I never include, you know, whenever I do talk about this, I never include him winning the Oscars. Like, oh well, he shouldn't have got that. Doesn't matter. He did a good job in the movie. Him slapping Chris is a completely separate situation. So let's look at that specifically and talk about that.
Yeah, and I think we're all in agreement with the award thing because he, like I said, he won that award before this incident, and the
Right.
award show was for his performance in King Richard. Like that's what he won. Now his punishment should be, you know, from this moment forward. Will we
40
see him
lashes.
Right? Will we see him again in that next one? Probably not. You know, and maybe that's deserving because he should have controlled himself, you know, now. And it honestly kind of works out perfectly because like you had said, Cheap, maybe this is the time to step back, focus on your family, focus on yourself, and just do some passion projects, do something that you enjoy, you know.
Right.
It's just he needs to get back to like enjoying what he does again. And I don't know, hasn't been obvious to me that he's been doing that. But yeah, it's nuts, man. There's what are we on to next?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next week because you know for a fact that people are still going to talk about it.
Right.
It's going to be a topic. Hey, guess what else Jada did? It's like, oh, good Lord. Can y'all shut up now?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's going to be like an ongoing series, right? Like covering a Disney Plus show. Like we'll just wait for next week. Let's see what train wreck is happening now.
That's better than Disney Plus. I can give you that though.
Right. At least I don't have to pay for this.
Exactly.
What was I gonna say? We have a couple comments here. Right from Brighton. My concern is that had it been a white entertainer, it would have been called racially charged. Yeah. Yeah. I think he needs to be held accountable to make it known that you can't just do whatever the hell you want. He could have easily walked up to Chris and asked him to stop, and he went to violence. Absolutely. And it's something I think we kind of covered last week. And, the racial part of this whole fiasco is just uncalled for. And people have been invoking that as a way to make their own points. But I don't think that, I can't think of any reason why this would have to do with race. It had to do with Will's family life, with a joke that was made, and Will acting on his own internalized anger and depression and marital problems and just putting that outward onto Chris. It was the perfect storm of bullshit, and Will ate it all up. And unfortunately, he'll feel the consequences of it now.
Yep.
So, but The next little thing that I want to talk before we do that, if you guys are enjoying yourself, of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the show, help us boost the algorithm a little bit, and follow all these lovely people. All the links are in the description below. And if you're over on Twitch, you can, of course, come on over to our YouTube channel and see us over here, !YouTube. The next thing that unfortunately we have to cover, if I can find the here it is. I love Oreo cookies.
Yes.
If I may segue, I really love Oreo cookies.
So does Grace.
This whole, again, it goes back to like the celebrities. It goes like all these companies jumping on it, like Disney. Now Oreo, for some reason, feels the need to weigh in on. I guess this is stemming back to the Florida bill. Is that what's happening?
Honestly, I think it goes further back than that because if anybody remembers going all the way back to like I think it was like 2013, somewhere in there, 13 or 14, maybe. Like the whole everyone got up in arms at Chick-fil-A because they wouldn't support the whole like whatever gay movement was going on at that point. I think it was that gay people had just been allowed to be married. I can't remember what it was.
Oh no, the issue there was that the ownership
that was a Christian organization, right?
Yeah.
It's a Christian organization
to Family Matters or something, which is a severely anti-LGBT.
That's what it was. Okay. So yeah, it was that, and people got up in arms. And I remember seeing an ad from, I think it was Oreo specifically, where they had like the like 7-stack cookie that had like red, orange, yellow, like cream in the middle and in between each cookie. And it was just like a stack of Oreos. Like I remember seeing that somewhere. I'd have to actually go and like find the image, but I think it stems back to that as far as that. So this right here is just me going, well, what, like we already knew that you were in support of LGBT. You're doing nothing different.
Right. And I guess the overall problem I have with stuff like that, I don't have a problem with the messaging, obviously. Like none of us have a problem with the messaging. It's the assumption that there's this large contingent of people who are against people coming out. Like I can't think of a more asinine like thought to have. Like there is probably a fringe group of people that you could count, that we could all count on our hands total. Like there's probably 15 people like out there who don't understand this, who don't support people coming out, and who hate the LGBTQ community. It's no one here, obviously, and the majority of people have no problems with this. So when companies come out with stuff like this, it bothers me because it makes people believe there's this giant issue that we have to overcome. And again, I think this is just, it was a product. I think you're right too, Sheep, that it's dating back that far. But I think in response to the bill that nobody ever read, they're putting this out. It's like, hey, we're here, we got you. Like, just make your fucking cookies, man. You know.
Yeah, and I actually, to be a little bit more correct here, it was over a decade ago, well, almost a decade ago that they did the whole like pride support thing, where it's like the cookie. Actually, it was just the 2 cookies, and they had like each color, different color cream stacked on top of each other. Okay. So it was just the 2 cookies, and then they just sandwiched all the cream like in between. A lot of innuendos there, but like the whole situation was just weird, and people looked at it and was just like, what, why? And the funny thing about it is, I'm not a fan of Oreos personally. Like I've never really cared to eat Oreos all that much. Like I like Oreo thins. Like I'm not like, I guess it's just like I hit a point where I was just like, yeah, no, this too much it's too much Oreo here. And some people like the double stuff, some people like the mega stuff. I'm just like, yeah, just give me the thins. I can fly through like both sleeves in like a minute and a half. They're great.
Can't believe that, man.
At any rate,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm a
at any rate
person myself. So
see, like I said, that's why I spoke up in the way that I did. We already see that, and that's one of the things that makes me and Amarada such a great couple is because we have differences, and we'll argue about it, even though we both know that I'm right. And the whole
He's only right because he knows I'm right.
I'll
And in the
celebrate
end, he'll
that.
admit it.
exactly,
I'll celebrate that. Let's
exactly. But yeah, no, like it's funny because this is just another clear cookie cutter corporation move right here. Like, hey, guess what, guys? We support you. We support the gays, or we support the blacks, or something like that. And it's just like you don't have to go out of your way to say it. First
Right.
off, don't give your money to any kind of political party at all. That's your money. Make better stuff and or better products and stuff. And like the whole thing boils down to, what are you trying to, like, you're not gaining anything by doing this. You're gaining backlash, obviously, because you'll have people like myself or you or Amarada or like even bigger names that'll say the same thing, and a lot of people are in agreement. Just sell stuff. Just sell stuff. That's it. You don't have to go out of your way to be like, oh, well, pride. Like, so make a cookie. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What I find interesting is in a slightly different perspective, the people who get upset, they portray it like it's only the straight people who get upset. What they don't admit is that often it is the very people they're pandering to that are upset about this. Because honestly, can you imagine someone constantly trying to sell your sexuality to you? I mean,
Yeah.
I understand where straight people get upset about having to see it all the time, but to constantly have your own sexuality used as a tool to pander to you has got to be irritating after a point. And not your own sexuality as in, hey, here's two hot dudes
Right.
selling this car to you, but your own sexuality as in, hey, you're a hot gay dude, you should buy this car because you're gay and we like gay people.
Right.
So I mean,
go ahead.
it's an entirely I one of the people I follow on Twitter is a queer. I don't know how he'd really define himself, honestly, but he doesn't dress in a gender normative manner and all this stuff. But at the same time, the first thing he did when he saw this was retweet it and saying, "God damn it, just make cookies. I don't care. I am the market you are trying to pander to, and I don't care."
Put simply. And it's funny because, like, there's some I've also noted on Twitter, cesspool. I've noted on Twitter that there are some people out there that'll say something to the degree of, oh, well, it's a problem whenever it's like, when it's like, a homophobic kind of situation. But what about straight people? It's like, well, the difference between the two is they don't, like, when it comes to like just regular relationships, they don't press it on people as if, like, as far as like a husband and wife thing goes, like you see in like Leave It to Beaver or like The Munsters or like an old TV show or something like that. They don't press it as, oh, I am a guy, you are a girl, and this is how it's supposed to be. It's just simply a family. They don't do anything out of the way or go like, they don't jump through hoops and hurdles to make you believe that the only way you can be happy is with someone of the opposite sex. They never do that.
Right.
It's just a family. And when you pull moves like this, oh, hey, I am gay, and now we're going to do a whole diatribe about coming out. It's like, dude, we've seen this 284,949 times in the last 2 days. Like, can you not please stop, or I will threaten you by not buying anything.
Right. Well, if you go, it's people. It's weird that you have to explain to people like the whole, like, well, we have to hear about straight people all the time. It's like, no, you don't. Like, we don't. We don't have to, like, the thing is like when it comes to like a heterosexual relationship in any show or classically in history, it's there because, I mean, just okay, how is this the species perpetuated through heterosexual relationships. No baby was ever conceived through a homosexual relationship. That's not meant to be bigoted. It's just a scientific fact, right? Like you have to have a man. You have to be.
No, it's not biology at all. It's just science.
I mean, I'm not a biologist, so I might be wrong here, but like again, because of how the human species is done and how it is, it's like classically like this is how the species works. This is how the relationship is, and it was. No one cares if there is like a gay relationship, a homosexual relationship. Like the issue becomes, this is my defining characteristic, and I'm going to let you know it several times. And that's the issue people have with those. It's not the fact that it's there, because I've made assumptions about characters that never said that they were gay, but I thought, oh, like just by the way they're acting or how they're dressed, like maybe they're gay. Like, and if it came out that they weren't, you know, no skin off my back. It's just, however, my interactions with people I've been through in my life, I made an assumption about that character. It didn't make them any less than what they were supposed to be. It's just who they were. And I think that's what we need to get back to when it comes to storytelling. It's just let's just write a character and make a story about them. You don't this is how you write stories. You show, you don't tell. That's how good stories are written. You don't tell someone over and over again that they're a good person. Their actions define them as a good person. And what's even better about these characters is that sometimes they're bad actions, those morally ambiguous ones that you're not sure, but like how they cope with it afterwards. That's what makes them a good person. Or maybe they did something bad and now their subsequent actions will dictate whether they go down that like darker path or whether whatever it may be. But like every good character has these struggles. And like for some reason, we don't do that anymore. We just say, I'm a good person and I'm gay. Or you know what I mean? Like
by good, he means well written, not good.
Right. Right.
There you go.
Right. Anyways, I'm done with that tirade. But no, I wish somehow we could separate the company from like the political messaging. You know, we just make your cookies. I mean, I hate to do that, you know, when it goes back to like just dribble, LeBron. Just make your cookies. Whoever was it, or Nabisco, is that who makes Oreos?
Nabisco, yeah. Like I have no, and again, I have no problem with someone who has a political take or something like that. That doesn't bother me if you have a political take. It bothers me when you decide to make your product based on, or when you decide to like integrate political agendas into your product. Pretty much, like Oreos aren't about being gay. Oreos are about, enjoying a good cookie, sharing memories with someone, because like you and your brothers, I don't know, you and your brothers had a pack of cookies. Like you just had like the Oreos, like it was like six Oreos in like one of those little packs. You only had like $1 some change to go to get something from the store when you were kids or something like that. And there's like 4 of you. And there's 6 cookies. So what you do is like you each get 1 cookie each, and then you break the other 2 in half. Like that's a memory. You just create memories. Don't sit here and go, oh, well, how about we make this a gay monument? Like, Christ almighty, people. Just no. Just stop.
I did want to address a comment in the thing from Brighton. You keep referencing historical media as if people were accepted for being gay back then. I do know that we have made huge strides as far as social acceptance of this. I'm definitely not blind to that. But I still think, I mean, you throughout film history and the arts, at least, like you still have these depictions, and they while they may have not been outwardly done, like again, they were still written in ways that you like my first I think movie that I saw that I was like, oh, this is different, was Mrs. Doubtfire. Do you remember the uncles that did all his makeup?
Yeah.
The gay uncles, yeah.
The gay uncles. They don't ever say, like, I don't think they ever say that he's gay, but just through their actions and how they were dressed. But even then, like, it wasn't like overt. It wasn't like there was a couple of like mannerisms, and the one was like was a little bit more manly than the other one. Like it just happened, you know. But they were funny characters. They were well written, but they didn't have to like tell you, and there didn't need to be any like. And again, I'm not like uncomfortable with like gay affection, like whatever, do you?
You shouldn't have to be.
Right. You know, but like I'm just saying, like they didn't have that in there. It was just how the characters were written well. And I'm sure there's other movies that I can't quite think of right now, but I remember that being one of the first as a young kid, and I recognized it. I don't even think I ever asked anyone. I just like sort of deduced it over time. But
there's also I mean, one of the most popular anime series of all time being Sailor Moon having a lesbian couple in there. And and like that was something that like nobody batted an eyelash at. It was just like, oh, that's beautiful, the two of them. Like nobody sat there and said, oh, well, you know what, that right there is exactly why everything should be LGBT. No, nobody does that. Just write good stories and good characters. That's all.
Right. Yeah. And like, and I think it's, again, I'm not necessarily mad at the messaging. The video that they made was heartfelt and good. It's the assumption that there's a lot of bad people that are getting treated poorly, like all the time. It just makes me think like we're perpetuating a bad culture that, like, I think now more than ever, people are accepted for their differences. It's been hard the past couple of years because it seems like one side is dividing the other. I mean, both sides are dividing each other, but I think for the most part, people are so accepting. And I think for some reason the powers that be don't want that to happen. If
the more war you, or I guess the more division you sow, the more you can like pretty much trick one half or a number of people into pretty much. It's always I'm always gonna bring it back to the government because the government is evil. But like it's hey, well, you should support these policies. This is why you should give us power so that we can then enforce that on them. Like, no, how about you just let people be who they are? It's that easy. Like at that point in time, you don't have to worry about you know, something that should have zero bearing on your life affecting you at all.
Right.
Like it's that easy, but you know, politics.
Yeah, it's too bad. We've been so divided on politics the past couple of years that people have just forgotten, like, to be like, I think in the space of Twitter, people have forgotten to be like decent human beings. And
Twitter was never, well, no, Twitter was decent at the beginning.
It was decent in the beginning. It was fun. Well, in the beginning, it was like away messages for people, you know. Oh, I'm eating pizza now. Call you later.
Pretty much, you know? just quick one-off kind of things. And then Tumblr shut down. Tumblr shut down and everybody integrated.
That was really the serious problem when Tumblr shut down. That released an infection that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, you know, it became one of the biggest social media platforms out there, right up there with Facebook. So you have like a bunch of people who are just like, now you hear it in the news every single time. It's like this tweet or over on Twitter or this, that, and the other. And it's like, this is where we are. We're pulling all of our news from social media. That's bad. I remember at one point in time, I could hear about, it's funny, we were just hearing Amarada and her family and some of the other people that are here. We were just having a conversation about this. It's like back when CNN covered news.
Right.
Yeah, my mom was being old.
Yeah.
Thankfully, she's on the phone and didn't hear me.
She's not old. She's 28.
How old does that make me?
Yeah, and as a quick aside for CNN, did you guys 22. See that their CNN Plus like launched and they're already talking about dismantling that whole thing because it crashed so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I saw that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, no one trusts. I mean, no one trusts any main source anymore. They're going to alternative news that has less of a bias. I mean, don't get me wrong, the other platforms and alt news still has their bias, but I think they do a much better job at staying in the middle than CNN or Fox News. Like they're both crazy guilty of pushing their own agendas.
There are four names that come to mind whenever I hear CNN. Four names come to mind. It's Han Jarberson Cooper. You have Juan Limon. You have Fredo. You have Brian Seltzer Water. Every other individual. Mr. Potato Head. There you go.
Dude, he's the
Mr.
worst.
Nick funny, but like everybody else who's been a part of CNN doesn't matter. It's just those four names are the four biggest names that have just been pushing the same dumb propaganda over the past number of years and constantly blaming people that had nothing to do with something that they implemented or that their side, I guess the Democrats implemented. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, well, Republicans were on the right track. No, I think they're both on the wrong track. Personally,
they are.
I prefer your policies have nothing to do with my life. Let me go buy this land without somebody trying to tariff that shit.
Yeah. The Democrats and the Republicans it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. It's the same, same goddamn thing. But there is a question for you, local biologist. Do you have a problem with holiday Oreos?
I actually don't care. I am very indifferent. If you like Oreos, you like Oreos. I just like the thins. That's it.
Do they have thin holiday Oreos? Because that would be the best.
Oh, if they do, I'll try them. I just love the thins because they crunch so well. It's like they have a proportion that just sits well with me. They crunch right, and I'm just like, oh, that was nice. Let me try another one. And when I say let me try another one, I mean I'm on the second to last one. Like they just that's why I can't. That's why I stopped buying them, because they would become a part of my what is it called? My daily routine, right up there with coffee.
If you're not, and this is the last time I'm saying it, and this is the final word, and this is the only word. If you're not eating Oreos with double stuffed Oreos dunked in ice cold milk and eating it in one bite, you're doing it wrong, fam.
Yep. No. I'll be honest, I do it in 2 bites just because I like to get both sides really soaked.
Okay, that's fair.
But that's the only difference. I soak half the cookie till it's really just about to fall off the one half of the cookie. Then I soak the other half the cookie till it's about to fall apart, and then I eat.
You got to feel the cookie like just crumble under your fingers in the milk, and then you pull
that moment where you're worried that you're not gonna make it. That's
you're gonna have to drink it out of the cup.
Exactly. I've drank a number of Oreos, but that's okay.
Right, and that's the line I don't want to ever cross. I love Oreos, I love milk, I love dunking them, but drinking it out of the bottom of the glass, it's just like, oh, I love it.
Yeah. You see, I have no problem with that part. Actually, they have little dunkers they made for that.
Oh.
Rock says, I like all of y'all a little bit more. Thank you, Rock. We love you. I did want to take a moment too. I want to start doing this the best I can, like little interim segments, is welcoming everyone who did join. We had Officer Wolf come in. How you doing?
Howdy.
Silvar, I saw you joined late, but welcome. We were not mad at you, don't worry. And what else did I see up here too? Emperor Doomsday.
Silver.
Emperor Doomsday and the Mad Gentleman. Welcome all of you guys. It's always great to see you. And Brighton, my favorite mod in the world. How are you, darling? Yes.
I do want to say hi to my awesome channel over on Odyssey, hanging out and chatting and telling me that the sound levels aren't right. But
I'm gonna say hi to this last piece of cake.
Hello and goodbye.
Exactly, it's going.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, this is we're definitely having fun. I love talking about this stuff with you guys every week. There's a lot of good stuff going around, and even like just refreshing and getting like kind of gauging the room, because like sometimes I'll look at a certain story and I'll like get mad at myself, but like talking it out with other people, especially people I respect, is like it's a good way to sort of like come back to reality and sometimes like switch my position a little bit and understand where you guys are coming from or where maybe the chat's coming from. But yeah, this is all good stuff, man. It's been fun. So we gotta next week we gotta get like 1 or 2 more people. We gotta be thinking of who we can have.
I'll contact Eric July.
Hell yeah, dude. See if we can make some time for us peasants.
I'm not a damn peasant. I'm a local biologist. What do you mean?
You're our local biologist, and we love you.
I mean, if we want to argue with somebody, I could possibly invite Lofty Pixels.
Hell yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it.
Get Lofty.
Absolutely.
I will. I know I'm a bad person, and I'm scrolling through Twitter while we talk.
No, you're not bad. I was doing it earlier. I just ran out of stuff to scroll through.
Apparently he's making a VTube model. So.
Oh,
good
nice.
grief.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
If he doesn't have a crying face, I don't want
it. Where is my thing? Is all StreamYard is being all weird. Let me share this thing because we're going to get into this next time. Before we do, of course, I will let you guys know again. If you guys are enjoying everything, make sure you hit the like button. Throw us a subscribe if you can, and make sure you check out everybody's links below. We're on episode 3 of the Mid Week Hump. We're going to do this every Wednesday. You can join us every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with these 3 lovely people here.
You can't see it, but I'm not grinning.
He's not. Oh, see, he's our local womp womp. That's who he is. Local biologist. But the next what we're going to get into is something that's a little bit more infuriating to me. Again, I approach a lot of this stuff as a new dad and someone who is who's starting to raise a family and understand that there's a lot of stuff that is contributing to the erosion of our culture, and this is one of those things that I don't understand. I've seen it reported before about honors classes being removed to be more equitable, and I don't know how it becomes a racist thing. I know that this is libs of TikTok, taking some creative liberties on their headline, but they've used race in this way to say like, oh, these kids don't necessarily have the same opportunities, so we're going to remove opportunities from other people in order to level the playing field. I don't know. I didn't know that accelerated classes or honors classes was a bad thing for society. I always thought it to be a good thing, and it was something that I always strived for when I was in school.
Fun fact. The high school I graduated from, valedictorian was a black woman.
Really? Yeah, I unfortunately went to the whitest high school in the nation. I graduated with 86 kids, and I had no black kids in my class. There was 2.
I live in Montana.
Oh yeah, I'm in Montana too. I have just increased the black quota by about 0.000000000. Actually,
we've got like a 0.05 black population in the state. So I'm trying to remember. There was one black kid in my class. There was. Well, I don't know if he was in like the class ahead of me. In my class, there was none.
Yeah, that's how mine was. Two classes ahead of me. There was one, and then one class below me, and they were cousins. So it wasn't even like it was the same family. It wasn't like different.
That's like my when I was in grade school. That's one of the things I tell a lot of people as well, is that like I can. It was predominantly white, and like I can damn near guarantee you the only non-white kids in the school that I knew of at that point were me, my 2 brothers, my 2 cousins, actually 3 cousins, and this one Asian kid. Everybody else is white.
Just white people just taking over. That's why we got to get rid of honors classes. You'll get rid of us then.
Yeah.
There you go. You know what? Get rid of the honors classes. If you're smarter than everybody else, oh well.
Yeah. Can you guys think? Can you guys think of a reason that would actually be beneficial to removing? I can't think of a reason that would be good to get rid of honors classes.
I mean, I can give you the bullshit reason that they probably tell themselves.
Yeah.
What is that?
I can't think of a real reason. That because some kids can excel further, that it's unfair to those who can't, especially since apparently in their mind, those kids are predominantly not minorities. So basically, they're just being racist without saying they're racist.
This is tantamount to saying, all right, we're about to have a race, but one kid's in a wheelchair, so everybody has to sit in a wheelchair. Like that doesn't solve the
No,
problem.
it's more like canceling the race because there's a kid in a wheelchair.
Right.
Yeah, that too. That's an even better analogy.
Yeah, I mean, either way kind of works, but yeah, it's like it. Like I guess the more pressing thing is that you're removing a really important part of development, because guess what? The real world is like this. There are places for people who are smarter. There are jobs that require a higher IQ that some people just can't get because they exist. They just need you need to know that, like, you need to be able to separate, forgive the analogy, the men from the boys, right? You need to know
the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, like if you can't do that, you're not going to know who is who. It's the same problem with race quotas in colleges, in the Ivy League schools, because if you're just filling a box, someone's going to fail along the way. Someone's going to be there that shouldn't be there, and the people who should be there aren't going to be there. And same thing here. Like, if you don't give the person the opportunity to excel into an honors class, like, that's important for, like, colleges to see. It's essentially you're removing a spot from your resume. Why wouldn't why wouldn't you allow someone to put that extra, get that extra knowledge? And there's a big difference between an honors like calculus class and just a regular calculus class. Like, you need to, like, if you can differentiate that, you might get into some more advanced concepts in the honors class versus, calculus is complicated regardless, but like they need to be able to differentiate. If you're just putting people in, like, someone's just not going to get the same quality of education. The people who are smart are going to get bored. They're not going to care. They might not even participate properly.
I am living proof. My mother told me this story when I was like in I think it was preschool or kindergarten, one of those two grades, that the teacher told her that I was doing exceptionally well. I was like too good at this. I was too good at what I was doing, and like it might be a problem because I might not find interest in things. Like, I might not find interest in learning later on in life. Lo and behold, I went from A's and B's to, like, mid grades, and that's generally because I was pretty much ahead. I'm reading it at 10th grade level in like 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
And by the time I'm actually getting into, like, what would be considered advanced courses and stuff like that, it's like they're just throwing me in there. So I'm just thrown in there without any training wheels or any know-how or what the heck is going on. So I'm just like, my grades are falling left and right because it's just like what I know at this point is just like, well, I don't, either A, I have no interest, or B, I don't know what's going on. So I ended up, like, my grades slipped and stuff like that. I graduated with the 3.1. Was it 3.14? Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember, 3.14 or 3.24. Nonetheless, I graduated with at least a 3 GPA, a 3.0 GPA.
Yep.
And after that, I was just like, all right, you know what? This school stuff is stupid. I'm just gonna go ahead and work.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's you kind of went the right direction that I think about it when you're talking about, not leaving the room on the resume and stuff. But you're literally taking away chances from people who may not have the ability to pay for a college and would instead be able to use that towards a scholarship,
Right.
or even decrease how much burden college would be on their family because they have these courses out of the way because they took them as advanced placement for college credit.
It's
Or
an
any
anomaly.
kind of things. I mean, there's so many different possibilities that and you're talking about, poor kids who could be predominantly type of demographic. And why would you think it's a good thing to remove chances from people just because not everybody gets the same chance?
Yeah, pretty much.
Go ahead, Cheap. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was just echoing. That's all. I'm just saying pretty much.
There's a comment in here to find a good book to read. I have 3 right here next to me. Oops, I didn't mean to click it off. But there's the Gulag Archipelago. If you want to read something heavy, I just started this, so I have to keep going. Where is it? Discrimination and Disparities by Thomas Sowell. Great.
Thomas Sowell is always a good option.
Yep. Or the biography Maverick. That is another good one.
That's a good one.
To read about the man's life in general is a really good to do.
Oh yeah, no, he has a very interesting life because he was at one point in time a raging leftist.
Oh yeah, he was a Marxist, right?
Yeah, he was a straight up Marxist.
He was all the way on the opposite end of the spectrum when it came to that, and then like he got to a point where he's just like, you know, where he is now.
Yeah,
government beat it out of him. It was
pretty much.
that showed him that it wasn't working. But I would also recommend what is it? The Parasitic Mind.
Oh yeah,
by Godsod and
good.
White Liberals and Black Rednecks.
Yep. The Godsod book, The Parasitic Mind, is probably one of the better ones to read right now. If you're not, if you're someone who stumbles across this video who's like on the fence and trying to understand like culture today, Godsod does an amazing job at providing that antidote for you, as he calls it. But yeah, I read
he's
that.
He's a hilarious follow on Twitter.
Oh yeah, he's great on Twitter. But I think I read that book in 2 days through flying back and forth from my house or from my home in Connecticut. So I definitely recommend those. Definitely good recommendations.
Now, if you want, there are some books out there. Like if you want to read something a little bit lighter, like something that's not as like, you know, word heavy, may I recommend to you Mobile Suit Gundam Origins. Complete deviation. You didn't even expect. I'm pretty sure somebody expected it.
I knew
I knew what was coming.
Go read Fist
I didn't know it was going to be Gundam, but I knew it was going to be manga.
Yeah, go read Fist of the North Star. Pick up a Junji Ito book. Those are always good.
Yeah, those are good. I can get behind Junji Ito.
And it there surprisingly enough, you could pick up more moral what's the word I'm looking for? Like not moral quandary specifically, but more like True Believer by Eric Hoffer as well. That's another good book.
Yeah.
But you can pick up a lot of messages and like I guess moral messages and being a decent person in general from a lot of manga, because for the most part the more popular manga are written for kids, for kids growing into adulthood and stuff like that. So you can pull out a lot of messages. Yeah, you want to be able to like 15 versions of you that can all help you create like a Rasen Shuriken or something like that. But you can learn something about not, just dropping all of your goals and just pretty much becoming another number in the books. Just building a life you want to be a part of, kind of thing.
Yeah.
From a lot of manga, such as like Naruto or My Hero Academia or something like that. You can pick up you can pick up a lot from even learning about something from like maybe Death Note, something that is a little bit heavier, but is like it's a very highly intelligent manga series. There's also Monster, which is also very very intelligent, and a bunch of other like Full Metal Alchemist that tells you about like pretty much like war and like the what war leaves in its wake, pretty much, and a whole bunch of other things that are like that can be historically accurate, but also be as entertaining, and also leave you with a good message. My recommendation is manga. They might recommend you some word books, but I'm gonna recommend you some comics.
I mean, if you want some fiction, I can recommend Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern.
No, that's all words. But like what?
Yes, they're good words. Very interesting words.
She means
basically
pictures.
By David Eddings.
I read line art.
All sorts, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But there are some other books that I do read. Like I'm a fan of the Tom Clancy books, even the ones that aren't really written by him but do follow like his universe. So I've been a fan of espionage stuff as far as like, you know, text-based books go. It's like it's always like something to that degree, like Tom Clancy or like if you were to pick up a what's Razorfist's book actually? That's another one I would recommend. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Then you
But
should pick up that Umbrella Guy's Littlest Umbrella. You should go back it on Indiegogo.
are we doing that?
I was
We're
doing
doing
it.
it?
I don't know what you're doing.
Go back, hunt the Littlest Umbrella. Go ahead and back well when the Rippaverse is announced, back Reagan Gold Eagle's book. Just go back everybody's not Comicsgate, but alternative comic stuff, because you know Marvel and DC as they are, they're pretty much just dancing in the ashes of what they used to have at this point. You might as well just let them die. Just go ahead and fund some stuff that actually cares about, you know,
You.
good, you as an individual, not even just as a fan of the work, but as an individual, someone who doesn't disrespect you. I apologize if we deviated from talking about books.
No.
I would honestly
Or Shags is over there thinking my stream has become an advertisement.
no, I was about
this
to
is
say
great.
I was about to say an easy intro book if you want to learn more about, like, you know, how the government is screwing you over is Anatomy of the State.
Yep.
Yeah, Anatomy of the
By Murray
State's great.
Rothbard. Pick that up. If you can't like find the book, I think it's actually on Mises. Yeah, it's on Mises.org.
Yeah, it's free on Mises.org. You can actually they will actually send you a free copy.
Yeah,
I think
you get
YouTube
it
has
there.
an audiobook too.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's where I listen to it. I actually have it in my downloads. So whenever I'm out, like, you know, doing deliveries that are like way out of town, like way out of town, there's like I get like a signal, maybe I listen to some uninterrupted Murray Rothbard.
No, this is a great segment, by the way, because I always like sharing the stuff that's that we like, and you know, again, for the people who are here, for the people who may be here, and who will be here in the future, these are great options for you to check out. And it's actually a really good segue into our next thing, which you had brought up, Sheep. So I'll put that up in a second. But I did want to again say hello to new faces. Blair to Blair, welcome into the show. Appreciate you stopping by.
Howdy.
And yeah, so this has all been. And it looks like Emperor Doomsday has another suggestion. I would suggest Choice, Cooperation, Enterprise, and Human Action. Robert P. Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Very
Oh,
cool.
You know what? Another fictional book. One of my favorite fictional books of.
Oh.
That's one of my favorite. Sorry, The Giver.
It got cut out.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Giver. Yeah, The Giver's great.
Yeah, I love that book. The movie was not as good, but the book was the book is so fantastic.
The movie ever
pretty
was
much.
good?
It's funny because
Yes.
I'll
tell you which one in a second.
Okay.
But it's funny that, like, you know, like I had the idea in people. If you want a good song, by the way, go look up "Utopias Don't Exist" by Backwards, BACKWORDZ. That's Eric July's band. But I had the concept of the fall of Utopia is one of my favorite like kind of plot structures. Like the fall of Utopia is exactly what The Giver is. It's like this perfect society that basically becomes undone because one kid recognizes that it doesn't make sense for things to be perfect. Things shouldn't be even across the board. Things should be as, you know, as life intends them to be, which is each individual has their own lives, and when you control them, they're not themselves, kind of thing. So I recommend that book for people. Bye, I'm Murata. She'll be back.
Oh, I was saying, I was gonna tell her that some movies are as good as the book, if not better, and I was going to answer that for her, and I will when she returns. But so, like I said, it was a good segue into what we were going to get into next. I'll let you take this away and kind of. Here she is. She's back again.
Hi, I'm Murata.
Hi, welcome back.
Yeah, Grace decided I needed to get into the debug mode on.
Well done. Grace.
So I will answer your question, or what movie was as good as the book, and I would argue was probably better than the book, and that was Fight Club. If you've ever, Chuck Palahniuk is one of my favorite authors. If you don't know who Chuck Palahniuk is, you should check out both of his podcasts with Joe Rogan because they're fucking amazing. One was from 3 years ago, I believe, 2019. He was on. And there's another one very recently, probably 4 or 5 months ago now, where he talks about his journey with writing. He's a very quirky dude, but yeah, the movie, and even he admits that the ending to Fight Club, the movie, was better than his written ending, which I 100% agree with. I remember reading the book, years after watching the movie, and I was like, what? This is how it ends? The movie was so much better. It's really great. All of his stuff is very, it's prolific, I would say. It's so bizarre, but it's really, really good.
Now, is it the very end of Fight Club that's different, or is it just like the ending, like the final act ending?
No, that like the very ending, like where they're standing watching the buildings fall.
Yeah, watching the films.
That's not at all what happens in the book.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the movie was just, it was so, like, I thought the book was a really nice supplement to the movie, but the movie hits like all the points that the book does, but just, I think, ties a bow on it much better. So if you ever have the chance, definitely read the book. What was I gonna say? So Sheep, you wanted to, I'm gonna let you take this away and then we'll go for it. And this website, I love Bounding Into Comics, but their ads are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be just that.
We love you guys, but holy ads.
See, and it's funny because like hey, look, you make money in the most like efficient way possible. I guess ads is it, but yeah, like it's funny when it comes to Bounding Into Comics. Every time one of the writers' names pops up, Spencer Cooley or like John F. Trent or like one of the guys there, or I'm just like no, I know that guy. We had dinner the other day. And completely untrue situations is just funny, just like a little spice to add to the segment. But Spencer and I we went to Dante's not too long ago, and he didn't order. It was actually like a couple Thursdays ago. He didn't get the steak. I mean, not the steak, but the lobster. I got the steak and lobster, and he just got the steak, and I was just like, oh yeah, no, I got steak and lobster. My bad, I'm thinking wrong. It's like
You got
different
steak and
situation.
shrimp, but
I got steak and shrimp with you and Mama Amarada. But
oh, okay. This was apparently on a different night.
yeah, it was a bro date. But no, this whole I am not knowing you. Complete tangent. Nonetheless, this whole situation with Disney saying that anime is a focus area, I feel like that's honestly, I feel like that was pretty much prophesized. Like everybody can see the writing on the wall. Like, oh well, Disney's numbers are starting to flop when it comes to like their animation, houses, as far as like their cartoons. Some of their 3D movies are not doing as well as they had hoped they would. Like Onward was a complete bust.
Yeah, it's too bad. That was a good movie, I thought. But
and I'm okay with the two. I'm okay with the two actors, Chris Pratt and Iron Boy, being the two brothers. I was like, okay, cool. I like what they were doing there.
Right.
Cool, fine and dandy. But ultimately, like you're looking at what Disney's doing now with like Star Wars and Marvel and stuff like that. It's falling apart right before their eyes, and they're just like, what's popular now? Anime. Right. Anime. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba has outsold the entire Western comics industry by itself in the series released back in, I think, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It outsold the entire comics industry by itself. I'm not talking about its own its own wheelhouse over in Japan. I'm talking about like the entire Western, like DC and manga. Not manga, DC and Marvel combined couldn't hold a candle to Demon Slayer. Like, Demon Slayer is not the talk of the town, how popular that is. And then, you would look at Disney, and Disney's like, all right, well, we got to pull in money somehow. Let's make some anime series. Netflix is doing anime. Hulu has anime. I think Paramount has some, or I don't know, Amazon has some. And like, now they're just like, Disney's just like, look, we got to throw our hat in the ring. Otherwise, we kind of get left in the dirt. So I feel like this is just a ditch effort of theirs that they're going to throw out there and hope that it sticks, because, anime is what it is. It's just popular. So when you use phrasing like this, a focus area, and claims they'll transmit them overseas just the way they are, it's honestly, that's one of those, as I like to call, Todd Howard moves, where you say things that sound good, but then you get something completely different.
Yeah. It's like this reminds me of like, I was just reading a book the other day. They talk about like like Disney's not trying to innovate on anything. They're just trying to like repackage something and
constantly.
Right. So it's like when they started coming out with flavored toothpaste, like it didn't make toothpaste any better. It just made more products. And then other companies started doing that. And that's what Disney's just like, oh, we see it's popular everywhere else, so we're going to do that too. And they're not going to do anything good with it. It's just going to dilute it further, especially in like the Western world. And I just think whatever they touch anyway, again, it goes to like how, oh, we're going to tell our story.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like we don't want Disney's story of anything, because they just ruin it.
This is most of the stories. I'm a fan of Disney's Alice in Wonderland.
Well, their old stuff was great. I think a lot of this, I mean, there is a good portion of their catalog that is really good. But like, I'm sure we can agree most of the recent stuff is just hot garbage.
It's really sad, because if you've ever watched The Wonderful World of Disney in the past, back when, Walt Disney himself was hosting it and stuff, he actually goes through the whole very innovative at the time process that they did to make the movie. To give Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, for the time it was, the depth that the images had. And he showed you the machine where they painted the backgrounds on the glass in each layer, and the characters, and but the way they did it was, for that time, an extremely innovative process. And that's part of what Disney was into. I mean, he did the first film. I mean, I'm not talking what's the word? Mary Poppins. I'm talking before that, but he did the first putting a human in a cartoon. Way before anybody even thought of it.
Was that
it was
Song
one
of
of
Life?
his. No, it was one of the black and white shorts that he did before he was Walt Disney. But it was kind of an Alice in Wonderland thing. I mean, the man himself pushed hard for innovation in all sorts of ways. So to see the company he created basically just going back and vampirizing its own products to make them live action, which realistically in today's age is absolutely nothing innovative or transformative. It's just lazy bullshit, because they don't want to write their own shit. And they want to get rich off of the shit they already have. It's frustrating, and it's sad too, because I mean, we've said it before, Sheep and I just have nothing to do with Disney. And I'll be honest, I'll probably be known as the mean mom, because I don't think that I could, in good conscience, let my kids have access to it.
No, they'll blame me. I'll make sure they blame me.
That's right. You will take the blame, and you'll love it.
No, but you gotta understand, it's not me being Will Smith
movies and shit, but
it's not me being Will Smith or anything like that. It's just me simply saying that, like, in some instances, I'll go ahead and bite the bullet on this one. That's like, I don't want to have my kids growing up thinking that the internet is the only way to exist in life. Now, ironically enough, I do have a personality on the internet. All of us do. So I mean, like I am kind of like, being a double standard in this aspect, but it's not like I'm not trying to base my life off of the internet. It's more so of what I'm trying to say is like I want my kids to think for themselves and not let their phones or the internet think for them, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
same thing goes to like when you look at because otherwise you just end up with Disney pretty much. Like you get unimaginative rehash after rehash after rehash of stuff that's already been done,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like, creating something new and different and innovative.
That's the unfortunate part is like a lot of their original stuff, like they've been fine. Like, I mean, even if you think of like the last few that have come out, and like, I mean, trying to like go back to Moana, like what was that one you just meant? Onward? Is that what it's called?
Onward, yeah.
Onward was fine. Like the story was, it was a cute story that was there. Like, I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know what I would pick apart as being like bad necessarily. It definitely appealed to the uber nerd side of me.
Right.
And then we did talk about Turning Red. Turning Red was fine. It was a good like original story. I think I mentioned Moana.
Yeah, you just did, yeah.
But I'm trying to think of like all these like more recent
Encanto, I think it was.
Encanto. I did finally watch that again. I've watched it like 20 times in pieces, and it was okay. Like it wasn't my story necessarily, but like it was cool. The songs were pretty forgettable. I thought. I didn't think that the songs were very like great, but and, like
Here's
Frozen was a great story.
here's a prime example of what I mean by like unimaginative.
Okay.
The Incredibles was what, 2004, I think it was 2003 or 2004, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That movie dropped. It was a talk of the town. It was a great movie. It was just a movie about a family of superheroes
Mhm.
that want to be recognized as being superheroes and not just, being hidden away because of mishaps that happened, throughout time. Where like, there was the whole superhero sanction kind of thing.
Yep.
And they now have to go and save the world because some kid who had a chip on his shoulder ended up becoming one of the richest people on the planet and created like technology that could defeat the superheroes up to the point where he could defeat Mr. Incredible. And
Right.
once that happened, the family banded together, and you recognize that, like, Mr. Incredible recognizes that he doesn't have to always go it alone. He has his family to be there to back him up, kind of thing. It was a nice
Right.
story.
Yes.
And then you have Incredibles 2, which
Oof.
does deviate from that
Yeah.
in a way. But what they do is essentially is the same story where we'll have this rich villain pretty much coax this what's her name? Elastigirl, Mrs. Incredible. And we're gonna pretty much use her to bring back the whole superhero sanction and make, and the family bands together again. It's just like you're not learning anything by doing the same thing over again.
Right. Well, yeah. No, I can agree there, and I think a lot of those, there are some of those that did happen. Like even the Toy Stories are just kind of like
The same things.
It's the same damn thing over and over again, but they know how to tug on the heartstrings.
Right.
But Coco was another example that I forgot about. Coco was a great movie, and like a lot of these like kind of broke that, like, because for the longest time Disney was like the princess movies, right? It was princess,
Mhm.
prince getting saved, but so many of these more recent ones, like Coco didn't have like any of that. Encanto didn't really have any of that. Like these, they were able to write good, like heartfelt stories. If you haven't seen Coco, you need to go watch it. It's really, really good. And it doesn't take place in American culture. It takes place in Mexico. And the songs in it are amazing. The villain is so good. And it's different. It's like, it's a villain, but like the whole thing just seems so grounded. It was so, Yeah, that's another movie that like this one here that everyone hates is a movie that I share like some great memories with my son. But yeah, the whole Remember Me thing. Have you guys seen Coco?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, the song "Remember Me." Like I remember when he was a kid, he started like because there's a part where there's a little girl who sings this song, and my son started singing it. It was like right when he was beginning to talk, and I saw him do it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" It wasn't I wasn't bawling or anything, but got like choked up that he was like watching this little girl on the screen sing it, and he started singing it, and it was just like a beautiful moment. But yeah, you guys should watch it. It's a really good show. So my point is, Disney is capable of writing great movies, but it seems like they have this really bad habit, as we said, of taking old properties and rehashing them in a really weird way. Like The Lion King. It's like, why would you redo The Lion King? That movie was perfect.
Lion King,
Aladdin. That did not need to be redone at all.
Was it didn't they do Oz the Great and Powerful as well?
That was less of a redo and more of a kind of continuation.
Oh no!
If you've ever actually read the books are absolutely nothing like that movie.
Right. Cruella though. Cruella.
Yeah,
Cruella is just dumb.
Yeah, and like they had there's that's the just a kind of a quick aside, by the way. If anybody has taken note to this entire segment, not once did I mention the egregious acts that Disney's been like hashing out recently, as far as we're going to support the anti don't say gay bill, which it isn't, by the way. But back on track here, like Disney, they have so many like good stories in the tank. Like Zootopia is one of my favorite recent movies. Big Hero 6 is another one of my favorite recent hero movies. Disney movies.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, Big Hero 6 was great.
And the thing about like you have movies like that, and they generally do have a message behind them, if not just being entertaining. But you just don't see that in a lot of their stuff anymore. Like the Mandalorian, every episode just seems the same. WandaVision that fell off. It started falling off as it continued. Loki was not good at all. Just pretty much told everyone the entire MCU was none of it mattered. In the first episode, you have Hawkeye, one of my I would say my second favorite Marvel hero of all time, first being Spider-Man. Like Hawkeye, that series I didn't care at all to watch. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was not interesting at all. And that's just me talking about Disney Marvel stuff. I haven't even touched on Book of Boba Fett, which pretty much infantilizes Boba Fett. Haven't talked about the Bad Batch, which nobody watches. Haven't talked about anything over High Republic or new Star Wars movies or anything. Like, they're doing so much nothing. And it's turning people off. And now that, this is a ditch effort. Hey guys, you like anime? How do you do, fellow anime fans? Kind of thing. Like, it's weird. I've never been a fan of people or individuals or companies and corporations that pander, because all it does is tell me that you don't really think out good stuff in mind. You just want to try to make as much money as possible, while pretending that this is something that you're going to invest in. Like, I've never been a fan of ingenuine stuff or disingenuine stuff.
Yeah, they've been good at that. It seems like a lot of these, going quickly back to like the remake stuff, a lot of those seem to be spawned out of like, oh, we need to like unwhitewash these characters. And it's like
how do you unwhitewash a white character?
Well, I guess as it pertains to like the, like the Lion King and then Aladdin, it was like, oh, like all these people voicing them are white people, and it's like we need to have black voices represented in all these, and it was like, well, then you totally missed the point of the movie. Like
that's so stupid. It's funny. I actually just another quick aside.
Was it one of the great black voices in the Lion King?
Oh yeah, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, yeah.
Like one of the things that another thing that like when it comes to situations like that really boggles my mind is when you look at it's gonna go to D&D. Talking about Critical Role. Matt Mercer has created one of the most interesting worlds I have seen in D&D history. But because, and I'm doing a video on this, by the way, this is going to be my next video. But because of what they think what they think their fans are, you know, because a lot of fans say stupid stuff, but because of what they think their fans want, they are now working with what is it like this stupid, like, I guess race sensitivity or like culture sensitivity groups and stuff like that. Like these are fake jobs. These are basically people you're paying to tell you, hey, you can't do that because, you know, culture appropriation, which makes no sense, because I'll use this example being Gilbert. Excuse me. Gilbert is one of his merchants and a wizard. I think he's a wizard, if I remember correctly, in the world that Matt Mercer created. Gilbert is from Marquette, which is essentially fictional, you know, Middle Eastern area. And he's easily one of the favorite NPCs. Like, if he ever died, all of the fans would set the world on fire. But like he created this interesting character, and now, you know, the third campaign they're doing it's happening in that general area, and they're working with sensitivity groups to make sure that they don't offend anybody for a fictional world. And like it makes no sense. The entire cast, minus like I think one person now, is white. Just play characters. You don't have to worry about what skin tone you are when it comes to animated characters or something like that. You don't have to worry about being, you know, vocally accurate, or I'm not vocally accurate, but like you know, visually accurate. You just have to, you know, put a voice that matches the character. I can understand if it was like, oh well, we have Captain America, we have Steve Rogers right here. Let's go ahead and pick up I don't know, Tariq Nasheed, the black guy. Like that makes no sense, because Steve Rogers is blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Right. Just get a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy and just run with it, because that's what he is. Because visually, that's what you'll see. You don't see that with, like, you know, voice acting.
Just can't do that, because that's a white supremacist dog whistle.
Exactly. Like, yeah, pretty much. But like, you know, voices are voices. The guy who voiced the Pooh can't, like, he got chastised for being not Indian, which is stupid.
Oh, Hank Azaria? Like,
yeah, Hank Azaria, that was his name.
God damn. Yeah, that was
he did
bullshit.
That to himself on some level.
Yeah,
I agree.
Which makes no sense, because now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, like, you know, if you know, Apu is like Indian or whatever, but what does that make everybody in The Simpsons for otherwise? Like, they're all yellow. So I mean,
right.
Like, you might as well cancel the whole show, Groening. Like, that's it. It's gone. Kaput.
To be fair, Apu's not yellow.
He's not. Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Like, why wasn't Bender voiced by a freaking robot? Why wasn't Leela voiced by a Cyclops, or a Cyclopean alien? Like,
right?
Why do we have to be why do we have to be so specific with voices? Like in as it is, I can understand again visual, like live action stuff, but not the voice thing. That's stupid.
I can answer that question for you. I know it was rhetorical, but I'm going to answer it for you anyway. And for anyone who is here wondering why there's diversity officers and sensitivity training, is because at some point in the last 6 years, maybe more, people have been convinced that words are violence. That is why we have these positions. People believe that words spoken from your mouth equate to getting hit in the face with a fist. They think one is the other, and that is why you have these things, because people are triggered by the spoken word, and they use that as a way to shield them from things that they don't like. Oh, you said that thing? Well, that's akin to violence. I don't need to hear it. You need to go to a sensitivity training for 16 hours over 2 days, and then you are qualified to interact with me, speak with me, or speak on a certain issue. That's why we have these things.
And you are qualified to go work those corners.
Yeah.
That's something I'd say.
Mm-hmm. No, it's, I mean, and I work for a, essentially a government institution, and we have to sit through these fucking things like once or twice a year where some diversity officer, and I'm sure you can imagine what they look like, get on there and they basically tell us, every white person that is, that they have implicit bias, unconscious bias that they need to acknowledge. They need to be sensitive to those who are oppressed or have been historically oppressed. It's fucking bullshit, man. It's the weirdest thing. And what's funny about it is that the chat, they had to turn off the chat and all these things because so many people were in there like calling them on their bullshit. It was the funniest thing because I'm sitting there laughing because I know that everyone's just everyone's like split, but the loud people that are on Twitter that were like in my institution in the middle of this meeting, like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm not fucking racist. Why am I like, and they're swearing, they're swearing in the chat, and they finally turned it off because they couldn't control everyone.
It's impossible. It's funny because these people know that their messaging is like, it's not that their message is being opposed for the sake of them not being able to speak. It's that their messages are being opposed because they're incorrect about their assessment. Right. Like, you sitting there simply going, oh, well, this is offensive, and then I'm going to tell you why. And to the normal person, they're gonna be like, oh, well, you have fun talking to an empty room, and they're just going to walk out because it's a waste of their time. Why would I waste my time listening to someone who clearly whose grasp on reality is just about as strong as somebody with no fingers? Like, you're not holding anyone's attention by saying stupid things. Yeah. It's not that your opinion is invalid. It's that it makes no sense.
Yeah.
They lost their grip on reality. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's too bad because if we were able to, like, if this whole department of people, or if this way of thinking didn't exist, you'd probably have a lot stronger individuals out there because they'd be getting the help they need. If they literally can't listen to someone have an opinion on a certain matter, and they need they need someone to be reprimanded for their words, like, if they only just got the help they needed, we would be in a much different place. We'd be in a probably much more understanding place, and we wouldn't have these people in positions of authority that could have control over us. That's why you have people getting banned for a dissenting political opinion or whatever, or you get people who are deranged for years over the same fucking orange man.
I'm still convinced Dr. Disrespect got banned because he said he had top secret information on Hillary Clinton.
Oh God.
Like, I know that's completely untrue to the situation. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with him with the Mixer deal, with him questioning, ducking out of his deal with Twitch to go to Mixer because Mixer was offering more money. And they were just like, oh, well, you can't come crawling back like that, even though Ninja did it. You can't come crawling back and
right.
and say, oh, well, I need the money kind of thing, because we now have Ninja, who, recently came back, and Pokimane and Amaranth. So, you're gone. You're done. So, I mean, I'm still sitting on that fence that he said, because that tweet he put out, he was like, I got top secret information. Click. He's gone.
Right.
Stupid political differences.
Oh, I know, man. It's unfortunately, it controls our world now.
It's sad. That's why I hate politics so much.
Yeah, and the people behind it all just as crooked as any, and we have to sift through like the bullshit. And like me, I just ignore most of the national stuff unless it somehow affects me. But I just concentrate locally. If something's going on in my local district, that's there's been a couple things here in Utah that have broached like the groomer stuff / like education stuff, and I'm just sort of keeping my ear to the ground. I'm talking to other local families when I can to see like, hey, is this sort of stuff popping up in the school? Like, should I have to worry about it? Because I'm starting to consider like private school or homeschooling if we can, because
homeschool.
It's just,
for sure.
I mean, and I don't. And the thing is like, can I do it? I don't know if I, it comes down to like, can I afford to take the time off of work to do it? Like, can I start this business in order to take care of my family? Because right now, my income, takes care of us. I would love to be home and school them and do that and be a part of their education. But right now, it's like I think the best option is the private school, because at least my dollar means something, and I can I can have a
Definitely
say.
have more direct control.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that too. I mean, like private school, I'm leaning in that camp as well. As like, public school. I'm not public school. But homeschooling and private schooling. Honestly, if you were to pick some kind of education for your kids, I would say one of those two, because public school is completely cucked. Like that's pretty much done. I wouldn't send our squid heroes to any public school. I'm pretty sure Amarada wouldn't either. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have let me even think about that. She put me on the corner before I even thought about that, and I told her I wasn't working in
kidneys.
Shake your money maker, girl.
I'm not shaking. Well, I'm not the girl. I think he was talking to you.
Good.
Don't shake your money, huh?
Get an only squids. That's what you need.
Only squids.
As soon as I can hire a really good artist.
There you go. Man. But no, like public schooling is like it's not the best choice at all. It's not even close to the best choice. Like I was public school, then I didn't like most of the kids. The atmosphere was not to my liking. Like I can guarantee you, from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, I have all of like maybe 4 or 5 friends, like people that I have no problem keeping in contact with. Otherwise, like everybody else, they can go do whatever the hell they do and keep me out of it. It's like it doesn't. I mean, I can see a benefit as far as like exposing them to society, but that's not necessarily the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Right.
Is sending them to a school where for 8 hours out of the day, or around 8 hours out of the day, they're told something that they either A, shouldn't have to learn about at an early age, or B, something they already know and they have to rehash because for some reason they've decided to make an entire school year like almost the entire year, as opposed to shorten it down to like, a small semester.
Right.
Well,
I mean, so simple.
They talk about how public school socializes your kid. Last time I remember being in school, we were told not to talk to each other, not to really associate with each other, except for the 15-minute recess and then during lunch. Otherwise, you were punished. You had to raise your hand to go to the bathroom.
Wow, really
stupid.
And if you did that too many times, you were told you couldn't go anymore.
Which is also stupid.
I mean, if the entire point of school is socialization, why are you not actually socializing?
Pretty much.
You're being trained to listen to the authority.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like there's plenty of kids that I grew up with, or that I knew that were homeschooled, and like I think school is important for the social aspect of it, but I mean, honestly, raising kids is mostly like there's very few things that you like sit down with your kids and are like, do this is how you do it. Like there are certain, like I was outside today doing riding a bike with my little one, and like trying to show him and like give him like move his legs with him to sort of get the motion, and like, but most other things like kids are learning like passively. Obviously mathematics and stuff you have to have like lessons for and whatnot, but
right.
Like kids learn the social aspect of things by interacting with their parents. Yeah, growing up, like if you ignore your kids, they're probably going to be socially awkward. If you don't engage your kids in conversation, ask how their days are, listen to them, respond, et cetera, you're gonna raise like just weird, like socially awkward kids.
Socially dense works too.
Yeah, but like that's
they
just
learn from watching you socialize with other people. So if you only keep your kids at home and don't take them out with you, they never get to see what you do and thus imitate, which is how kids learn so much of the time is by imitating their
parents. Yeah.
You never have to teach a kid how to be independent. kids want to be independent by like their own nature. Like they're always looking to learn. Like my kids constantly, we'll make them dinner, and they're like, can I help? And sometimes the answer is no, but sometimes it's like, yeah, I have the patience to do this. Like, okay, get the macaroni, put it in, and what do I do now? It's like, well, we wait till this boils, then we take it out, and then we have the sauces on the side. Can I put the sauce?
Right.
Yeah. So like they want to learn. They want to learn how to take care of themselves. They at some point they're going to want to know how to do the dishes, and then I'm going to make them mow the lawn. All this stuff like that. They got to learn to take care of their zone. So
personally, and personally, when it comes to like public schools as it is now, I wouldn't allow my kids to go to the those schools simply because those kids are fucking weird. Like, I'm not saying weird in the sense of like, are kind of weird. Like, we're weird in a good way. They're weird in a way where it's like they know the consequences and ramifications of their actions and still do it. It's almost as if they're like, in that sense, a dog that's been told no, Grace, over and over, and they keep barking. Like it's it's like it's like I wouldn't want my kid to grow up. For example, when I was in, I think, 3rd grade, the teacher told us not to go mess with the honeysuckles that were like growing around the fence on near the what do you call it? The schoolyard wall or schoolyard gate, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And like teachers go, or they go, I guess, inside or whatever, something like that. No, we were inside, she told us. And when we went outside, kids would run over to the gate, and I was like, teacher told us not to do that. And one of the kids is like, I don't give a damn. And I'm saying, like, we're in 3rd grade. That's a word that if you're in 3rd grade,
bad word.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in 3rd grade, that was a bad word. As an adult, it's either A, it doesn't bother you if your kid spices up their vocabulary every now and then, or B, you just aren't paying attention to your kid at all. But like when you hear that, you're just like, oh, that's bad. And you kind of something like kids they tend to follow the crowd. They're genuinely interested in a lot of things. So they'll see a lot of people crowd around something, they'll go check it out too. It's kind of what kids do. So those kids get in trouble, and then now they got to play the game where it's like, who did it, and they don't tell on themselves or something like that. Like they're not honest, and it just doesn't. It's not a good environment, in my opinion, for kids to be in, where you have people you have a bunch of kids who know right from wrong and will still do wrong.
Right. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want my kids to do wrong without knowing the ramifications, and if it's even worth going through that kind of trouble. Because I learned early. I was like, what's the point of lying? I'm gonna get in trouble anyway.
Right. Yeah. I don't want the belt. Fuck that.
Yeah, right. I stopped lying. I just stopped getting the belt at the same time. I was like, oh, that was painless. Let me just go in my room and just listen to my brother get whooped because he lied.
And I don't know, like, I don't even know if high school is as bad as, or public schools in general is bad when I was going through them. But like you see so many videos of like classrooms just totally unattended. And even if they are attended, like, it's like the teacher's not even there. Kids just getting like beat on by other students and bullied, and the teachers are just standing there.
Yeah.
Like it's like the inmates are running the asylum, and there's nothing. Like, why would I want to expose my child to that? Like, it's just evil to it.
There was that one video that was floating around. I might have seen on Twitter. I think Amarati, you've seen it as well. There was the I think it was like a girl or some girly boy or whatever threw a chair at a teacher and hit the teacher in the head.
Oh yeah.
Teacher reacted through the chair back at him.
Yeah.
Then threw 2 chairs, and the teacher sits down and just bleeding. I'm sitting here like, that is your teacher. Right. That is the person whose job it is to help you learn about stuff.
Yep.
And you're assaulting him. Somebody who didn't even raise a hand to you, maybe he raised his voice, but not raised a hand at all. Yeah. And you're assaulting him. I wouldn't want my kids to go and experience that or even be a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. There's no, it's hard to be in the position I'm in and think like, oh, this is gonna be a good environment for my kids. You know, I just you gotta pray that the local school systems, public, private, or whatever, are just not engaged in that. But a lot of times it's like it's too late, and like you put your kid in there, and then you find out a year or so later, like, oh, this stuff has been taught, or or they've already been taught a bunch of times. Kids are so impressionable at a young age that sometimes it only takes one or two times to talk to them about it, and they absorb it and they start, talking about it at home. Yeah. But that is a good side to it, though, because kids, when they hear things at a young age, they often repeat it right away if they get it. So if something like that does come up, I feel like I'd be hearing about it like immediately.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually listen to their kids or pay attention to what their kids are saying. And then also, the kids are taught to respect their teachers and so forth. So those times that you now see an instruction where teachers or the instruction booklet will say, "Don't tell your parents."
Right.
And the first time I read that, the first thing I thought was, gee, the first thing I'd be doing is going home and telling my mother, because that's how I was raised. If someone tells me not to tell my parents something, that's something I need to be telling my parents.
That's just the rebel blood in you.
That too. That doesn't help.
Yeah, it's a creepy phrase anyway. Don't tell your parents. Why would I not tell my parents? I live with them. They're the people that helped me get to this point. Like, yeah, I want to be as like if there's two individuals who have any level of authority over my life that I would want to be as transparent as possible with, it would be my mother and father, or at least, mother figure, father figure, whatever, situation you may be in. I would want to be most transparent with them because they're the ones who are helping me get to the point that I'm in now, or I'm going to.
Right.
Like, don't tell your parents. Nah. How about you don't? How about I don't tell the principal? And you don't. He don't tell you, or she don't tell you that you're not getting your paycheck.
God, fucking school. I don't even. It stresses me out.
I can imagine, especially having to work anywhere near or around it.
Yeah. And luckily, where I work, with the things I do, like I do work in a school. It's a trade school, and
nice.
Luckily, we don't deal with like academic stuff. We deal with like the automotive trade. So any of the students that I have they're already through high school. We're not doing like basic curriculum stuff. It's just what they're learning about automobiles. So our instructors, I've never stumbled across any of our instructors who have like that woke blood in them. They're just they're a bunch of old wrench turners who they're more conservative. We have a few that are
weird. Yeah.
But luckily we don't really have to worry about stuff like that. And I've the most stuff I've had to worry about as far as my job goes is like the sensitivity training things that we have to do. And most of the time you can watch the recording and just pretend that you did it. And
like, you just turn the recording on and just walk away.
Basically, that's basically what I do. Even the live ones, I'll turn it on, and then I'll I know they're an hour and a half or something like that, and I'll just tune back in like an hour and 15 minutes. Like, oh, thanks.
You have individuals like ourselves, not to like toot our horns or anything like that, but we're smart enough to be able to walk away from those kind of videos, come back and do the whatever quiz they have, and be like, oh well, if you see little Johnny with an apple and I don't know, well, if you see little Johnny with 2 apples and LaFonda Liqua with 0 apple. Yes. And just keep it pushing, because it's pretty damn predictable, these kind of stupid sensitivity training things. Right. It's like why this is what I mean by fake jobs. This is what a lot of people mean by fake jobs. It's like you're paying people to pretty much give you their opinion.
Yep.
That's stupid. Like, they're not even therapists. That's the worst part.
Oh man. Oh, so guys, there's a good little thing we have here. Rock Rain has been hard at work putting together some stuff for us.
Oh wow.
Excuse me.
So we are going to show it. But I do want to today was a great cast. I want to wrap it up. We're hitting our just over a 2-hour mark, but we've covered just about everything
Nice.
that there was for today. We'll go back around the table, let everyone know what you're up to for the next week or so, what you got planned for YouTube or Twitch. Go ahead, start us off, local womp womp.
Oh, I am up top now. So yeah, local Womp Womp's got he's got a video out on YouTube now. With it's my perspective on Will Smith slapping Chris Rock and Jada sitting in the back, pretty much like Daenerys Targaryen. So that video I put out on Sunday. I'm working on another video right now that I'm hoping to have out this weekend. And on top of that, I have a show, The Chopping Block, on every Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time over on Twitch. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. Also follow me on Twitter because, at Sheepsidian, because, I get up there. I legitimately just shit post. Every now and then I'll just say, like, I'll say something smart or something that, like, that does kind of, like, shine a different perspective on somebody else's takes or or something like that. But for the most part, I'm just up there saying goofy stuff. Go up there, get, like some of my stuff, follow and all that other nonsense and whatnot. But until the next time I show up, y'all stay safe. It's real in these streets. And there's that.
And the lovely horror Emirata.
Oh, you know me. Just I'll be gaming on Twitch tomorrow night, assuming I'm not still terribly sick. Elden Ring until I beat it, and then Thursday or Fridays and Saturdays are typically something like 7 Days to Die with myself and a few others, and you can always pop by and enjoy that. Join my Gilded server if you want to have other conversations. You could also consider joining Shagworth's Discord server if you want to have conversations with him. They're quite interesting in there. But yeah, that's basically where you will find me. I am going to post a couple of my boss battles on my Odyssey if you want to pop by and watch just me try to eventually succeed in killing something. So there will be that in the near future.
Well, that's awesome. And we, of course, my stuff you can find here. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. And of course, the stupid notification bell. It'll ding you every time I post something live. We've been posting all of most of the segments in separate videos over the course of the week. So you guys can revisit them, share them with your friends if you like what we're saying. Saturday, Sunday, Mondays, we are doing streams over on Twitch. Right now we're playing Elden Ring. We're pretty close to the end. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of side quests and clearing out dungeons over there, but we're definitely in the latter part of the game. My character is stupid overpowered. I'm swinging 2 giant hammers and it's very satisfying. I'm like able to stun everything, which is great. But of course, we go through modes where we got to get good.
Scrub.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a couple days I've like nearly rage quit, but it just comes with the territory.
That was me playing. I was playing Vanquish on Twitch like last year, and I might have died like and like they'd give you a death counter for every mission you finish.
Yeah.
Because the platinum games kind of functions the same way as Bayonetta. The whole thing is like I remember there was one fight I did. They told me I died somewhere close to like I think it was like 87 times or something like that
Whew.
in one fight alone.
Yeah.
Like died 87 times in a row. Finally did it. And I was playing on the hardest difficulty. They were like, congratulations, you just unlocked the hardest difficulty. And I was like, what do you mean? That was the hardest difficulty? I guess I'll go back eventually and like, you know, play that. Not on stream. I don't want to I'd never finish
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where these games are really fun. But like I watch some people, like I struggle with certain fights and identifying like their move sets and their patterns. And then I go and I watch like a YouTube video of like a no-hit run on like the hardest bosses. And I'm like, and on level 1. And I'm like, what? Like,
see some people speed run the game. They're over there like sipping coffee at the same time, changing the music selection, having a conversation with the chat. And I'm sitting here like, you god or goddess. That's so impressive. I'm like empty angry. Like I'm not jealous. I'm just mad, but not mad at the same time. I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'll watch. I'll see what's going on. But I don't hate. It's like I guess it would be encouragement. It's just like that's kind of impressive. I'll you know shout you out at some point and say, hey, go check out this person. They're pretty good at the game.
Right.
You son of a bitch. All in one breath.
That's why I advertise straight up front. Like if you like someone who's mediocre at games and can be mildly entertaining, you've come to the right place. I can fill that void for you 100%. But thanks so much, guys.
Now I suck at games.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too. But yeah, I want you guys to enjoy this little outro. It's gonna actually be our intro normally, but some hard work by the Rock Reina. He's been doing awesome in editing our videos and doing stuff like this to sort of bring some production value back up. So enjoy, and then we are out of here. So enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be back on Friday night with talking about some new movies that are coming out and discussing the second episode of Moon Knight. Anyways, have a wonderful evening, everyone. We love you.
See you guys. That was it. I like that. That was pretty cool.
Right?
I gotta draw more pictures of myself.
Yeah, like